to Agora financial market strategist Alan Nuckman talk a little bit more about all this volatility. Alan, Jennifer brings up one of the comments that we heard from the president today, actually, that the Fed doesn't have a quote-unquote feel for the market. What do you think?
I try to focus on price, not politics.
Okay.
Obviously we had a positive turn in the markets before the last couple of months, but it wasn't driven by politics. It was driven by the fundamental fact that corporations were making records amount of money, and the ratios were doing well. We had growth in earnings per share on a quarterly basis, and if you look at 2018, it may be the best year for earnings growth that we've seen since 2010. So if we can get back to fundamentals, I think the market can do okay here. It is a season of giving, and we're giving back the gains that we've had in the last year.
So much negative sentiment out there. Just about everybody is negative. So how does that kind of play into things? And is your point, I guess, it sounds like, is that some of this is just overdone?
Yeah, the sentiment has shifted dramatically, and this is really a game of psychology as well. So let's remember, just 2 months ago, we were at, 3 months ago, we're at all-time forever highs. Nothing has changed except for the sentiment, and you have to look at this as an opportunity. But let's talk about some of the positives here. We've got interest rates, which is the conversation now every single day. Interest rates, the 10-year note's down to 2.75, so the yield's at its lowest level since April. So that's a full 0.5% off the highs. Yes, the Fed has raised rates. But that hasn't spilled over. If you look at these longer-term rates, they continue to decline, and that's very much a positive, as well as the fact that oil's down here at year lows as well.
So that's a positive. The oil, oil, boy, some drop, but that's not some sort of a signal that economies, not only ours but around the world, are slowing down, and that is a bad sign for global growth next year, as some argue.
Right, that's the global growth concern that people have. But if you look at oil, 2015, 16, and 17, oil traded between $40 and $60. So we've come back inside that range. Yes, we had a breakout in 2018, but we've come back with that range. So it is oversold, as are the markets. So at some point, they're going to find some value. Also on a positive, let's talk about the dollar. The dollar may be done. If you look at the futures markets here as far as interest rates go, there are no interest rate hikes at all until you get out to 2023, 2024. There's nothing. So that can be taken off the table, and so I don't see the dollar continuing to strengthen, and we did put in a high here just in the last couple of weeks. So that could be very much a positive for the markets as well.
Interesting. All right. As a final point, there are kind of two things, I think, big picture, that would turn things around if they work their way into the news cycle. One, obviously, would be the Federal Reserve maybe, turning more dovish and being more flexible, as some officials have talked about. And the other is a trade deal with China. Either one of those two, or both, likely, you think, in the first few months of the year?
Well, the trade deal could be a psychological pop, because that'd be one issue that we could set to the side. Like I said, I'm almost putting the interest rate issue to the side now, because I think it's not a factor in 2019. It's more of a psychological issue that, yes, they've raised rates, but we're still at very, very, very low levels. Let's get back to some of the fundamental facts. If we look at the price-to-earnings ratio in stocks, we're about 14.5 right now. We're down to the 10-year average. So stocks are cheap. Let's remember that stocks are not the economy, and right now they're at a super discount. So stuff your stocking.
See, Alan, you calmed everybody down. What you should do is you should put a call into all the top bank CEOs and tell them everything's going to be okay.
Let's
or
not
have
do
them
that.
Tell you. Thanks a lot. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, when you're in a hole, stop digging is what I would say to those guys.
That's what some people are saying today. Yeah, it just didn't come across right, whatever the intention was. Thank you, Alan Nuckman.